what is the new etiquette that we need to get used to when it comes to shopping? Will things be on the shop floor for us to handle, but then quickly whisked off into quarantine?
So we worked very closely with government and the sector to produce a set of guidelines for just these sort of scenarios. I mean, something to bear in mind is that with the food sector, we've taken the learnings from there. We've been sort of handling goods in the food sector during this entire period without sort of any huge uptick in cases as a result. So I think as long as retailers are sensible and as long as customers are sensible, I think the whole quarantining piece won't have to be as big a sort of sticking point as it could potentially be. But each retailer is adopting a different approach. So some are using UV, some are disinfecting clothes with sort of misting. There's a variety of ways that retailers can sort of keep their stock viable and available for customers to use.
So how many do you think are going to make it through this? I was speaking to somebody who represents small to medium-sized retailers in the German states here and over the weekend, and he said he thinks the third quarter is going to be where you see the big spate of bankruptcies. Is that a concern for you in Britain as well?
So, I mean, the government support here has been really unprecedented. So there's a large number of schemes. So there's C-bills, CL bills, the large business relief schemes, and a lot of businesses are either very, very true. But I guess that's going to go some way to sort of providing liquidity for businesses. Again, we're working very close with the sort of CFOs from our businesses and Treasury to make sure that as many retailers as possible are able to secure that funding. You're right that will come to an end, that sort of support system. So next quarter will be a challenging one. We're confident that retail sales were down 5.9% in May, which is still the second worst month on record, but actually potentially not as bad as it could be. We're not talking 20-30% declines. So as long as consumers are out spending, and the job retention scheme here again has sort of helped cushion the blow to sort of consumer discretionary spending power, it's possible that we'll weather this better than some other countries has.
Do you think that the trend, Kyle, towards online shopping by those who maybe previously didn't do online shopping or didn't do it to such an extent, do you think some of that trend is here to stay? Definitely.
So, I mean, prior to COVID, 80p in every pound was spent in store. Obviously, that's completely changed now with 83% of all stores closed over the last 2 months. We've seen with food in particular where the infrastructure is quite costly. We've seen supermarkets essentially increase their weekly delivery slots from 2 to 3 million. They've hired tens of thousands of people. They've spent millions in infrastructure costs. And basically people who've never shopped online before, so the elderly, the vulnerable especially, probably won't go back to shopping in store immediately. So some of that gain in online share of spend just won't revert back to where it was before.